All right, so Mike, for real, on the baptism, like in the Book of Mormon, before baptisms were a thing, have we discussed this with Travis? I would like to hear this argument from like a actual, almost philosophy kind of guy.
We've discussed part of it. It's twofold. We've discussed before. It's twofold. It's where was the Levitical priesthood carried over from Jerusalem in the Book of Mormon?
Denny.
Right. So how are they performing baptisms from the Aaronic
They were operating
priesthood?
They were operating under the higher authority of the Melchizedek priesthood.
Okay. So why is the Melchizedek priesthood never recorded or mentioned or named like by that name within the Book of Mormon?
It is.
Or
It
within
is.
the
It's the
Bible?
high-
Like, why don't we
It's
see
the high.
that? Why don't
It's
we
the
see...
high priesthood.
Hold on, man.
It's the high.
Hold
I'm
on.
gonna answer your question. It's the high
No,
priesthood.
you haven't
That's
even
the
heard
order
the whole
of.
question.
It's the high priesthood after the order of the Son of God, and it's in Alma.
So it is an Alma, but they never mention it before. How do we know that Lehi had it or that Nephi did it? And why don't we ever see the occurrence of the Melchizedek priesthood occurring throughout the Bible as a priesthood alongside the Aaronic priesthood? Because from everything I can see in like biblical scholarship, it was a priesthood set apart, not part of the Israelite tradition and not part of Jerusalem or Judea. So how did Lehi get it? And why don't any other prophets in the Bible, record that separate or higher or greater priesthood?
So your first question about the Bible is none of them are writing the Bible.
Lehi or Nephi? Because no,
Prophets in the Bible, none of the prophets in the Bible are probably writing the Bible.
I know, but like even from the Jewish, if you go and look in the Jewish tradition, like the Torah, the Talmud, the Midrash, like the Halakhic or the Agadic Midrash, like none of that's there is no higher priesthood ever spoken of as occurring alongside the Levitical priesthood.
Well, what about the?
So what
about
priesthood
prophet?
did Moses? What priesthood did Moses have?
No, so I understand the LDS assertion that there was.
What priesthood did Moses have?
He was given a blessing by Jethro.
Okay.
Wait, was Moses?
And what was Jethro's authority?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
I mean, you can,
very
according
little.
to the D&C, you can find out, but it's not. I mean,
Right.
his house was
So
not.
we don't have answers to a lot of those questions.
He
We
wasn't
know
a
that
Levite.
Moses had authority, Enoch had authority, Abraham had authority. The question is, where did they get it?
Elijah, Jeremiah, Elisha, Samuel.
Abraham paid
prophets had
tithes.
authority.
Abraham paid tithes to Melchizedek, probably because he was a high priest.
Yeah, who's
Yes.
Shem?
I heard Samuel.
We didn't
And
Go back to
say
chewing your cud.
Gentile. We didn't say Gentile.
I acknowledge that. I mean, I acknowledge that a prophet was a direct commission by God to
Okay.
and we can call it a priesthood
And that's-
office, but
And that's what
But it
Lehi
was-
and that's what Lehi was.
but
Lehi was
we
one of
don't
the
see
list of
Thanks.
But where do we see
We
that,
don't
that
see.
lineal? Where do we see that genealogical transference of the prophetic role, like from Lehi to Nephi? Where else do we see that it being transferred from father to son? It seems,
Gave him the
I
blessing,
mean, my
he gave
reading
all
of the
the
Bible
sons
seems to be
blessings.
Okay, I'm sorry. What are you expecting to see?
not so much expecting. It's just where
What
else
are you
do we see, like
what
in the
do you
Bible,
want
where,
to see?
where the son inherits the role of the prophet from the father?
He
We
gave
don't really care about that. What are you
He
talking about?
gave the sons all
First
the
Nephi?
blessings. Yeah, he gave all the sons blessings. He told Nephi he was going to
Because
be.
it wasn't father to son, because who took over after Nephi passed away?
To go over after
the
Lehi.
brother. The brother.
Who took over after?
I know the
Jacob
answer.
did.
Jacob did. The
Jacob
brother on the
did.
boat.
Oh, Sammy.
Oh,
Right.
sorry. Didn't have your hand risen.
And who was Mormon's father that gave him the authority?
Mormon's father? Ew.
Hello?
Get in line.
And from
argument.
Amron, what do you not have?
Yeah, but who's Amron?
Amron was a prophet. No, I agree. So first of all, Travis, I agree with you that like
No, I
we
get
don't
it,
have
yeah,
a we don't we don't have a line of
isn't
authority.
that. Yeah, we
there's
don't
no
have that.
there's
It's
no
just-
we don't have a line of authority in the Bible either, but we still accept it's the Bible.
Yeah. You either accept it or you don't. And if you don't accept it because you don't see an explicit,
Right.
here's who had authority trained back to whoever, okay, don't accept it then. It's fine.
It's the most beautiful answer I've heard.
It's a bit of an argument from silence as well. Like, oh, we don't know where Lehi got his priesthood.
Where is it
I've heard-
explicitly stated?
Yeah,
I mean,
no,
the
I-
whole-
no,
the
well,
Holy
I mean, like,
Priesthood-
why does
I'm not looking for an explicit statement. I want to be clear. I'm not looking for an explicit statement. I'm looking for kind of the consistency from ancient Israel and the way those things were passed or performed, or that office was called, which it seemed to be called randomly from different. The role of a prophet seemed to be called randomly from different tribes, and it wasn't a passed down office. And then, even in our church now, it's not a passed down office.
But it was also a
within
passed down
family.
office. But it was also a passed down office.
Where, like, other than the Book of Mormon, where do
Abraham,
is there anywhere that we see
Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Joseph.
the 12?
I
And
don't
then
know.
two
Gee.
kicked out, two brothers. Two brothers were
I think
that's
it's
not
worth
a-
mentioning. I think
It's the
worth
reason why the
mentioning as well
community. It's a reason why the RLDS churches had problems, because they tried to pass it patriarchally and it doesn't work.
And I also think it's worth noting that the pattern of the Bible shows that there's a pattern of apostasy where there's times where the priesthood or the authority or
Stop.
the gospel is not on the earth. Like we have
Who
from
gave-
Joseph to Moses.
Who gave Samuel the Lamanite? Who gave Samuel the Lamanite authority? I
right.
don't know, probably God, because he's talking to God. If God appears to you and tells you to do something, I think that authorizes you.
God calls who he wants.
Yeah, this is an argument that I rarely hear this position.
It's not an argument.
really doesn't.
It's a genuine inquiry. It's not an argument. I'm not trying to win.
Well, no, an argument is a claim or statement that you make.
No, that's an assertion.
Predicated.
An argument is saying that you're wrong about something. I'm just trying to get your
No, it
perspective
doesn't.
on it. So
No, it doesn't. An
My
argument
deal
is
is
identifying your
how
position
do
on
we-
something.
like
Okay,
you said, we didn't
let's
have
not-
the Levitical priesthood. We didn't have the Levitical priesthood coming into
There's no Levitical priesthood
the
in the Book of
Americas.
Mormon. Yeah.
So
there's
why
no
are we
Levitical
offering
priesthood in the Book of Mormon.
sacrifices? Why are we offering sacrifices in the Book of Mormon if we
Who's
just have
we?
the Melchizedek priesthood?
I just said.
Who's we?
I just said that there were people in the Bible.
Are you saying Moses wasn't authorized to execute the law of Moses? And
No, I
administer
didn't
it?
say Moses. I said the inhabitants of the Americas.
I just don't
in the
understand.
Book
I
of
don't
Mormon.
understand your argument.
The people in the Book of Mormon offered burnt offerings and sacrifices, and they didn't have the Levitical priesthood.
They
Which,
had the Melchizedek
Bible,
priesthood, which is the
though.
higher order.
That's what I just said. You
but
just
the
read.
Melchizedek priesthood is never mentioned in the Levitical law. So why would they be
are
leaving
you talking
leaving
about?
the Levitical,
You mean the
the
higher?
Melchizedek priesthood, the higher priesthood that you're talking
Have
about?
you read
is
the
never
Book of
mentioned
Mormon?
in the Levitical. Yeah,
Have you read
I'm
the
a
Book of
member.
Mormon?
I'm a member. We've talked
Okay, you don't-
multiple times.
I don't remember talking to you.
I'm sorry. I don't remember any of it.
You don't remember?
For you, the day was the most important day of your life. But for me, it was Tuesday.
We've talked about this before, but
I don't remember talking
yes,
to you.
I've read the Book of Mormon. I've been a member
you
my entire
active?
life. No,
Are you active in the church?
no.
When was the last time you went to church?
Mother's Day.
Okay. Do you just go occasionally on holidays?
I go as a favor to my mother.
You don't believe in the church?
I don't. I believe in the gospel. I don't know that I believe in the
You don't believe in the restoration of the
historicity
gospel?
in the historicity claims. I think that the structure and organization and the idea of Christ had a primitive church that needed to be restored is probably accurate.
So you're a minnow,
But it's. I don't know what a minnow.
a
that
member
an
in
acronym
name
or-
only. It's a member in name only.
Oh no! I mean, I think I know more than most members in activity.
I wouldn't I don't think that it sounds like you do, but
What
Okay.
does knowledge?
I don't know why
we're.
I don't know why you're going anti-rhetoric here and going to personal attacks, because
I'm not attacking you personally. I'm just saying I'm refuting your statement that you know more than most members, because I don't think it sounds like you do.
I've talked to you for 5 minutes tonight.
You
said
made
it's
your
an argument
personal.
you've never heard before, so it's
No,
got to
I
have
didn't
some
say
credence
that.
to it.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I said it's not an argument I hear very often because it's dumb.
But I've never heard a good answer other than there was some other priesthood that's never mentioned
What are you talking
that
about?
existed
all those
outside of the.
Again,
So
are you wait? Are you saying the Melchizedek priesthood is never mentioned in the Bible?
Once, whenever Melchizedek gives blessings for
No, it's
being
not.
paid for being paid
Jesus in
tithes.
Hebrews is a Hebrews is a high priest.
If you let somebody
forever
else
after
speak,
the order of
you could
Melchizedek.
hear the whole thing. I can give you all 3 citations in the Bible. The only
Okay.
3 mentions of Melchizedek.
You said
if
it was
you
only
let somebody
mentioned
else
once.
finish their thought in
You
the
said it was
sentence,
only-
we could have a
you
more
said it was only- you
honest
said it was
and
only mentioned
intelligent
once.
debate. No,
I'm
said
not.
it's
I'm not
mentioned
debating
once
you. I'm not debating
no,
you.
Once I said it's mentioned once when Melchizedek is paid tithes, and he gives a blessing, and he's called a high priest. I can give you all three references, but you
Okay,
don't
give me all 3
engage in an
references.
you don't engage in
Give me
a-
all 3. Give me all 3 references.
So it's
Where are they? And give me all 3 of them.
it's mentioned in the Old Testament but he's
Where?
only mentioned as the king of Salem when
Okay.
Abraham gives him tithes. It says he gives him a blessing.
Okay. And where else?
It's mentioned in Psalms in 110, 111, and it said when he says you're a priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. And then it's mentioned in Hebrews 5 and 6 that Christ is declared a priesthood forever after the order of Melchizedek.
Okay.
And it's essentially the same language the next chapter, and then the next
Okay.
chapter after that.
And it's the holy priesthood. The Melchizedek priesthood specifically is the holy priesthood after the order of the Son of God, which is mentioned in Alma.
Yes.
Okay. So what's your problem?
My problem is that it's never observed. There's no action taken. There's no and then this Melchizedek priest came in and did this. There's no mention or historicity from a biblical scholar perspective of the Melchizedek priesthood being an order of the priesthood within Israel. So when we have
again-
Levitical priesthood rites taking place, which we believe that there are ordinances and rights reserved to one priesthood and not the other. I'm just
Right,
trying to get
and
to that.
different
Whenever we
people's
have the Levitical
takes and
priesthood
opinions
rites
on
taking
it.
place and the Levitical priesthood's not there, it's confusing. So I'm just
Right,
trying to get
and
different people's takes and
The
opinions on it.
biblical. Okay, so what's the position of the LDS Church regarding the Levitical and Aaronic priesthood?
I mean, that's rather large and vague. I don't know what.
Okay, I know.
That it was-
it should answer your question. So what's your position with respect to, what's the LDS position with respect to the Aaronic and Levitical priesthoods that are mentioned in the biblical text as it correlates to the way that they're presented now in the church? What's their relationship?
Like, what is the Levitical? What is the Aaronic priesthood now?
Yeah, explain it to me. How does the church view its usage of the Aaronic and Levitical priesthood as opposed to the
That
way they're
it's-
presented in the biblical text?
That it's a lesser. I mean, I'm not really sure where you're wanting me to go with this. I don't understand.
I want you to
Socratic
explain it.
questioning. But it's
I want to explain.
the Levitical priesthood's
it's
real.
not Socratic.
It is. You're questioning to try to get me to come to a realization.
No, I'm not. I'm
It's
not.
the
I'm
lesser
trying. I'm
priesthood.
questioning
It's
you.
limited in scope. It's superseded by the Melchizedek priesthood. Is
And
originally
what's
the
its
ancient
correlation?
covenant.
What's its correlation to the Levitical and the Aaronic priesthoods that are contained in the biblical text?
Like what priesthood key? I don't know where you're going. Like what priesthood keys does it hold? Like the ministering of angels. It's a preparatory gospel. The gospel of repentance and baptism, and I'm not.
Okay, why is
I'm
it
not-
called the Levitical? Why is it called the Levitical priesthood?
Well, because it's the same priesthood that was held by the tribe of Levi and the sons of Aaron.
Okay. And why is it called the Aaronic priesthood?
Well, the Kohanim in ancient Israel were the literal sons of Aaron, and the rights of the priesthood the rights of the priests were reserved to them.
Okay, and how are we using it today? How do we have it today?
I mean, arguably, you can say the Kohanim were responsible for the law of sacrifice and the forgiveness of sins, or the recompense of sins, and that the Aaronic priesthood today is responsible for the remission of sins through Christ's atonement and new covenant.
And what's the role of a bishop in the LDS Church?
He's the head of the Aaronic priesthood.
And why?
What do you mean, why?
Why? Why is he that? How does he serve in that capacity? Because he's not a descendant of Aaron.
No, Christ opened with the new covenant. Christ opened the lineage.
No, he changed it. He changed it. The priesthood was changed of necessity. Or does it say that?
I'd really like.
Where does it say that the priesthood was changed? Where does it say the priesthood's being changed? I'm just wondering why you. Well, I'm just wondering why you, a member who knows so much more than other members, are asking this question.
No, you said I don't know very much, and I said I think I probably know more than most of them.
Yeah, and I'm
nothing
just,
about
I'm
me,
just
and you
trying.
made a claim to my intelligence.
I'm taking you at your word that you know so much, and so I'm just wondering why you're having this problem. Because I know so much, because I don't, so I don't have this
Regardless
problem.
of what the Aaronic priesthood is right now, what they did in the Book of Mormon is not what the Aaronic priesthood was then.
They don't have
So
the Aaronic
when-
priesthood in the Book of Mormon. They don't have it.
So if they don't have the Aaronic
Nobody
priesthood,
has
how
it.
did they baptize?
Again,
Held within the Aaronic priesthood. So how did they baptize?
have you
in the
read?
Book of Mormon?
Have you read Jacob chapter 5?
Not in a while. I'm in 3rd Nephi right now.
I would encourage you to read Jacob chapter 5. And then what's the
I
functional
appreciate
purpose
the
of
discourse, but
what's the
instead of
functional
the Socratic
purpose?
method,
What's the
can you just
function?
can we point
What's the
and
function?
counterpoint to
No,
this?
I'm not going to answer your questions. I'm just wondering why you're having the question. It looks like you have a blind spot that you need to fill in yourself. Because you're just going to argue with me if I just give you the answer. It's better that you find it yourself.
I genuinely I try not to argue with people. I try to take a, hey, go read this or look at it from this perspective, or this is how
Okay.
I reconcile those things, and I try to dwell on them.
Well, why don't you learn why don't you learn the development and history of the Aaronic priesthood as it's presented in the Hebrew scriptures, and read the passages where say that it will pass away and it'll have to be changed, and then read the passages that say it was changed after the resurrection of Jesus, and then read LDS theology with respect to how it was changed, how John the Baptist had it, and how he passed it to other people, and why that was acceptable, and read the keys of presidency, and how the presidency of the Melchizedek priesthood presides over the Aaronic until the sons of Aaron and the sons of Levi do offer up an offering unto the Lord in righteousness, and how those keys are temporary. And if you go through and read all that stuff, and then you read the Book of Mormon carefully and look at where they're exercising authority and how they're doing it, you should have all the answers to your questions. So, there you go. You're an intelligent guy, you can go do all that.
Yeah, Travis, I have a question for you, Travis. Would
Okay.
would you have a problem? Like I'm trying to figure out would you have an issue if there was like the assumption that they had the Aaronic priesthood in the Book of Mormon times? I don't see a problem.
They don't have.
No, I know,
don't
but
have it.
I guess my claim is that I don't see a problem with saying that. Like, if someone were to say, "I believe they did," I don't see an issue with it. Do you see an issue with someone saying that they did?
Yeah,
Okay,
because they don't have that priesthood.
Yes, I understand that they don't, but I don't see an
Okay.
issue with someone if someone were to say that they did. That's my problem. Is like
So-
Mike is saying they didn't have it, but I don't see an issue with saying saying that like the same thing we're saying, the same way that we're saying that they had the Melchizedek. I don't see a problem with saying that, like, because it does say that. I think Jacob does say that him and his brother were set apart as priests to the people.
They were ordained as priests or high priests after the order of Melchizedek.
Okay, so yeah, you're taking that as a high priest. Okay, that makes sense. That was my only question. Was like, I don't see it.
Well, that's the office. That's the office that Alma occupies.
Correct, Alma as the high priest of the
ch-
church. Yes.
Yeah, he's the chief priest. He's the high priest. Priests and high priests held the Melchizedek authority. That's what they held, and they understood that. That's how they're able to. That's how they're able to oversee the construction of a temple.
Yeah, and I mean, I
Outside of
guess
Jerusalem.
my point was more that I don't see an issue if you said that they had both.
Basically, it's like this. It's like this. We see Moses doing certain things. We see Lehi having almost identical experiences to Moses and doing almost identical things to Moses. And so the authority he held would have been from the same source to do the same things as Moses. And remember, these are a righteous branch of the house of Israel who believe God continues to speak. And they are accepting prophets and revelation throughout most of their history. So they're functionally different because what they don't have is they don't have the apostasy that Moses found when he came down and found them building the golden calf. So the Book of Mormon serves as kind of a restart and a what if. What if the Israelites had worshipped the true God and remained faithful to prophets and not fallen into apostasy? And what if they were doing those things? Well, the law of Moses was given, so they keep it. But they explain why they keep it. All throughout the first two books of Nephi, they're explaining why they're keeping it. Because they understand that the functional purpose of the law is to point to Christ, which they understand. That's why they're more explicit in their statements about the nature of the Messiah that they're expecting.
Yeah, and
The only way that they would know that.
My
I thought
point
you were
on this
done.
is we never see the Melchizedek priesthood acting anywhere, acting over the Levitical priesthood or having any sort of authority or inclusivity of the Aaronic priesthood in Israel.
Who's
that
we?
was something that was. I'm sorry, I will stop using pronouns.
Well, I'm just saying, who's we?
Never see.
Okay.
It's a literary device. I'll stop using pronouns.
Well, I see it.
Confusing
I
you.
see it. No, I see it.
just said
I'm just wondering who the we
I.
is. Okay.
It's a literary mechanism. It's inclusive of you and me. It's trying to not be controversial. It's trying to keep you and I.
No, but what you're saying
on the
is
same
what you're
page
saying is
and engaged
we
in a
see this.
logical debate.
I understand that, but what you're saying is we see this. I don't see it. So I was wondering who the we is.
I repent. I don't see the Melchizedek priesthood anywhere in Scripture, even including the Book of Mormon, being held up as a greater priesthood than the Aaronic, and especially inclusive of the Aaronic priesthood, until the 1800s restoration.
You've already said that.
I'm just gonna.
We're saying, but you're dismissing it by saying, well, they could
I'm
baptize
just no.
you.
I'm
Well,
just.
because
I'm
they
just.
had the
I'm just
Melchizedek
dismissing.
priesthood, and I'm saying
I'm just dismissing.
we're never.
It. Yeah. I'm just
Right,
dismissing
you're
what you're
dismissing
saying.
it. I'm
So
saying-
yeah, I'm just dismissing it because it's an absurd statement. I'm just dismissing it.
How is it absurd? Saying there's no foundational
What-
basis found within Scripture.
What
to
are
say
you
that
talking
this is-
about?
This is
There's no
There's no-
foundational basis for God speaking to prophets and telling them to do things. We don't see any precedent for that.
It's kind of a strong.
Is that what
man.
you're saying?
That's not really what he's saying. It's not.
That's what he's saying.
It's not what he's saying.
No, that's what you're functionally saying. Yes, that's what you're saying.
I'm not. You're being derivative and reductive.
No, I'm not. I'm not. You're being hyperbolic.
Like, I'm not.
And
I'm
you're
saying, where do we
exaggerating.
see any mention of the Melchizedek priesthood being a greater priesthood and inclusive of the Aaronic? That if you have the
No.
Melchizedek, you have the rights of the Aaronic priesthood anywhere in
Travis,
Scripture.
Travis, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but what I've heard
I'm
Travis say
sorry.
is that
Did
Go on.
Moses not have authority over Aaron? I'm sorry, did he not? Am I missing that? Because I seem to remember in Exodus chapters 3 through 6 that Moses has authority over Aaron, that he is a god to him, authorized by God. He's also having very different experiences with God than Aaron, who led the people in apostasy when Moses wasn't present. And did Moses have the Aaronic priesthood? Is that your argument?
My argument at all.
Okay, so what authority does Moses have? You don't know?
Moses was called to be a prophet, and we see repeatedly that there is
And he doesn't have any authority.
A role within the Bible to be a prophet, and we see Aaron.
Yes, and
submit
that
to
prophet holds the power of God, which is the high priesthood after the order of the Son of God, which is Jesus, who is a high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. They're the same. They're synonymous. And God very clearly says in Exodus that you will be to Aaron, I will be to you, your God, and you will be to Aaron, his God. That's the function of the Melchizedek priesthood. It's to preside over all other things, all other functions. The Melchizedek priesthood holds the keys of presidency and the keys of the authority of God to govern his kingdom. And they've been delegated to humans. And I don't know what you think Samuel had, or Elijah had, or Elisha had. What priesthood did they have? What authority did they have? Just because God talked to them? I'm just not understanding your argument. Hello?
Try to reframe it.
I reframe it in a way that acknowledges the fact that God gives authority to prophets.
Completely acknowledge that God gives authority to prophets.
And that they have presidency over the temple.
Back.
All of the prophets had presidency over the two temples that were built.
Sure.
Okay, so where do we see Moses officiating in temple ordinances or practices? And
There's actually a couple of specific examples. There's a couple of specific examples in Leviticus and Deuteronomy where he's officiating over Aaron.
No, not officiating as the prophet over the priest, which we see that.
And holy mother.
We see that happen.
The same answer to the same question about 4 times.
Well,
and it's like he doesn't want to understand it.
This is true.
He just doesn't want to understand it. He doesn't want to understand it. He doesn't want to understand. You think that because prophets don't specifically in the Bible do the temple work that's being done under the Levitical and Aaronic order, that they don't have authority over it. I guess. Is that what you're saying? I've already explained my perspective 4 different ways. Said it 4 different times. I just effectively what he's saying is, at least, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but because Moses didn't officiate in the rites of the Aaronic and Levitical priesthoods, he can't.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that
What are you saying,
I'm trying to tell you. I say that I find it curious, puzzling, and troubling that I can't find any instance of the inclusion, and I've repeatedly said this, of the inclusion or the tie of one priesthood to the other. From everything I can find from the Jewish and Israelite, from the Midrash, the Torah to the Talmud, to biblical scripture, to the Book of Mormon, I can't find any tie that one had anything to do with the other. There's no acknowledgement, there's no mention. It's like this assumption, this giant assumption that we're taking for granted that one existed and was greater than the other one, and it's never mentioned throughout 2,000 years of biblical history, 4,000 years of biblical history, other than a brief mention of a man and that there is another priesthood. But we also mention other priesthoods of other gods. I'm not debating that there was an order of Melchizedek. I'm saying it's unbelievably fuzzy and unclear as to what that was as far as any sort of biblical scholarship. There's never any mention of it being inclusive.
And why
to
is that?
Being inclusive to the Israelite priesthood and greater than the Levitical priesthood.
And why is that?
I don't know. That's the whole reason I'm up here, is because I don't know. Why do we not know? Why is it never mentioned? Why is it never established?
Because the texts were scrubbed under the reigns of Hezekiah and Josiah. That's why. And I think that you talk about biblical scholarship. Go read about that.
I've read about the King Josiah reforms, and we have intertestamentary works that weren't part of the King Josiah reforms that wouldn't have been touched or scrubbed. So I mean, to me, that's been brought up. It's been brought up by you. It's been brought up by Chuck. That's been brought up, and I've gone and done the reading into it. And to me, it's like that's very conspiracy theory-ish sounding. And I want to be clear. No, it's not. I love the gospel. I love the gospel. I love the Book of Mormon.
That happened. It's not conspiracy.
I love the gospel. I love the Book of Mormon. I love
historical fact
that the King Josiah reforms took place. Yes, that they scrubbed out the Melchizedek priesthood. That it was a higher priesthood and the nature of everything.
But they centralized authority in both Jerusalem and in the temple cult to stamp out apostasy. Those are the King Josiah reforms.
Okay, so what does that have to do with the establishment and the
because if you acknowledge that there's a higher authority called the Melchizedek priesthood, and that wandering prophets like Elijah can come in and have authority over both the king and the temple cult, what does that do to the centralization of your religion? What might be their motive? Do you think?
Respectfully, share your point. Like, share your view, share your points. I'm tired of the Socratic method in a discourse.
No, I'm tired of you repeating. I'm tired of you repeating something as though you're not listening to it or you don't get it. Okay, again.
I feel like I've engaged with every point you've made. I've still made it and countered it and said, this is my problem with that.
Who has authority over Aaron?
Moses.
Okay. Do you think Moses isn't the one that instituted the law of Moses?
Yeah, sorry, yes, I think Moses instituted
Okay, do you think he
supervised?
Do you think he supervised its proper activities?
As the prophet and mouthpiece of the Lord, yes.
Did he pass this responsibility to Joshua?
Yes.
Okay. Did Elijah have the same authority?
I don't know. I don't see any other instances of a prophet officiating over the temple.
Does Samuel have authority over Israel independent of the temple and even over the king?
I don't know about authority. I know that I would say he's the mouthpiece, he's the prophet. He speaks for the Lord, but
he doesn't have authority over Israel.
I don't know where that's established. As the prophet has authority over the Levitical. No, I mean, he can declare in Revelation, but I don't know where he has authority. I don't know where it's established that he has the authority over the Levitical priesthood.
Because the temple cult exists in a vacuum. Does the temple cult exist in a vacuum?
I mean, you just said it did. I'm trying to get to your point.
Does it exist in a vacuum?
Method. Please give your points. You just said it.
I've made the points. You're just refuting them and saying no. Never mind.
I'm not refuting
them.
I'm not refuting them. I'm trying to understand, and then I'm giving a counterpoint.
I don't think you are.
Point, not a Socratic discussion.
It's not a counterpoint. There is no counterpoint to what I'm saying. There is no counterpoint.
Then you're not listening.
Either
to understanding
Moses,
with me. You're not trying to help me. You're trying to tell me I'm wrong. I understand. That
I don't think there is any helping you. I think you're disingenuous. I don't think there's any helping you.
I'm sorry that a difficult question comes across as me being disingenuous.
It's not a difficult question. It's not difficult. It's a very superficial, simple question that you're trying to add layers of nuance to that don't exist. That's why I don't hear this question very often. because it's
I'm
dumb.
not trying to add layers of nuance to anything.
Mike,
If I
does
tell
Elijah
if I
have
look,
authority?
here,
The Melchizedek priesthood
let's
is
do it
not
this way. Let's do it this way.
recorded
Restored
in the Bible.
Here, let's do it this way. Who else is here? Restored. Okay. All right. Moses is the one who received the revelation for the law of Moses, right?
Right.
And he gave the authority to Aaron to do what Aaron was doing, right?
Right.
And he instituted that the Levites would be the ones who performed the functions of the temple, didn't he?
Correct. That was their call.
And he's the one that has authority over Israel throughout the entire 5 books of the Torah, right?
That's the claim.
And he passes that authority on to Joshua, doesn't he?
Yep.
Okay. And other prophets are written about and have writings throughout the entire books of the Hebrew scriptures where they have that same authority to correct and to call to repentance and to stamp out apostasy and to correct kings and priests when they find them in apostasy. Right?
The whole role of a prophet, if he is the actual spokesperson, he has the authority over the church.
And then in Hebrews, under the new covenant, the priesthood of necessity has been changed. And it's been delivered to the Gentiles because of the apostasy of the Israelites that Jesus found them in, as they rejected the prophets and killed and stoned them, as it says in Matthew 23. Then, the priesthood being changed of necessity. And then Jesus becomes the high priest forever after the order of Melchizedek. The authority of God, the authority of Christ, is the Melchizedek priesthood. The authority Moses received is that same authority. It is the presiding authority over all of Israel. It's one of the reasons why Samuel did not want to give them a king, because it dilutes the power of God further and separates and bifurcates it to a political and a theocratic authority. And God says, I don't want them to do that, but they want a king. So in their apostasy, I guess I'll give them one. I don't know why this is difficult. And you're just saying, well, I don't see the prophet walking into the temple and doing mikvahs, and I don't see him doing ceremonial sacrifices, because that's a role he delegated to somebody else of lesser authority. So anybody of greater authority wouldn't have the authority. Anybody of greater authority wouldn't have the authority to perform the other functions. And so because he's not performing these lower functions of his responsibility, he doesn't have the authority over them. That makes a lot of sense. Good luck with that.
I can concede that as a hypothetical. I just can't get past the
It's not a hypothetical. It's not a hypothetical. That is not a hypothetical. Again, Moses has authority over Israel. Moses has authority over Israel. Moses has authority over Israel.
And we never established a second priesthood. I can do this all night like you. We never established a second priesthood in the Bible.
What are you talking? We don't establish a second priesthood in the Bible?
You know that there's
From the LDS perspective, you're saying, well, a prophet is the Melchizedek priesthood.
I'm not looking at it from an LDS perspective.
That's never mentioned
I'm not
in the
talking
Bible.
about an LDS
It never says that the prophet holds some unique priesthood.
I am not talking about that.
No,
I'm
no,
not
no,
talking
it's
about
not-
that at all. I am identifying what I can identify just from the biblical text.
We know that he had a higher role or a higher calling given what he had the ability to do. So Aaron wasn't able to meet with God on the mount and receive instruction, but only Moses. So if you're given different tools or being able to do different things, are they equal or no? Different tools or being able to do different things, are they equal or no?
I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't make any sense at all.
Probably wants it to end.
Again, that's horrible thought. If you think that Elijah is subordinate to the Levitical members of the family, then you don't believe Elijah is an actual prophet.
Which is why in Kings he is ordering them. Which is why in Kings he's ordering them and authorizing them to perform a sacrifice in response to Baal worship.
So, but really quick, so this contention would end if there was a title given?
Marion,
For an exact word fallacy.
Melchizedek priesthood, Elijah had the Melchizedek priesthood, Lehi, Nephi, Jacob, Joseph, all of the prophets of the Book of Mormon had the Melchizedek priesthood. in my opinion, Mike's issue is not with the biblical claims of Moses. It is with the claim of the church having modern revelation and prophets that have revealed extra things that are extra biblical. And that's where he's saying, oh, this isn't shown in the Book of Mormon. This isn't shown here. This isn't. So my issue is that he's not, his issue is with modern revelation.
His issue is he wants to reject Latter-day Saint doctrine and theology. And this is the argument he's decided to die on.
Because he has an issue with modern revelation, yes. And
this is something that you've latched onto because it is more nuanced. And you believe it's a great argument. And if you and I have spoken about it before, that makes it even more suspect.
And being on Steve-O's live, building upon this argument that you've been doing for the last 3 months, acting like you don't discuss this with Steve-O to build the argument is a blatant lie, Mike. You guys literally talked about it for 2.5 hours on his live, trying to build an argument, and then you tried to apply that argument to Jeff, Scooby, and Matt and I.
And the argument is absurdly dumb.